Nigel, we'll start by talking about the game last weekend against Sutton United. It was always going to be a very physical encounter, but you must be encouraged by the fact that we've got our first point away from home.
What do you say? It's the first away point since April, and the lads have gone down with a committed attitude. We were hard to beat, which is what we talked about. We knew it was going to be a horrible game from a point of view of the weather, the conditions, and obviously give Sutton United credit because the nature of the way they play, you know, the stats will back it all up. They're the most direct team in the league, so it's coming in whether you like it or not from all sorts of angles. And for us to only have one save to make in the first half and not have to make a save in the second half, I think is great. Shout out to the resolute defending of the players. You know, Tom Davis is the captain and Jordan Hamill, the two centre-halves there. They led that defensive line really, really well. I would have liked us to maybe in the second half capitalise on a few of the knockdowns and the situations that we did in the first half, because some of the football we played in the first half was really good, to actually go and break away and counter-attack. Unfortunately, we didn't do that well enough, and obviously we then sat in a little bit because, as I say, as soon as you give the ball back to them, it was coming up to our penalty area. But as I said, Luke didn't have a shot to save. It was great defending from the team. It's a committed performance. And I think the players deserve great credit for going away from home. And yes, it's our first point on our travels this season.
There are never any quick fixes in football, and you've been very keen to stress that this isn't going to be a quick fix. But can you sense a growing belief among the squad?
Yes, very much so. You can see it every day in training. The attitude has been spot on as far as I'm concerned. Obviously, I've got a lot of experience of being in and around training grounds, and you can see that there's an inner belief, there's a desire, there's a resilience about everything. Obviously, things haven't gone quite as well from a results point of view, but you can see every day training's been good. Everyone's applying themselves the right manner. We've got a large squad of players, and sometimes that's a challenge to keep everybody happy. But likewise, when you've got good role models like a Conor Jennings, for example, Captain Tom Davis, is making sure that we drive on so the standards as high as we can have all the time. You know, build a team, develop the individual. And from my point of view, there is a growing belief, if we can see it. And even being in the area, you know, you're walking around, you can sense it from the supporters as well. You can smell it. You can smell it's changing. You can sense it's changing for the right reasons. And obviously, when you look at the last few games as well, after the games, the players going over to the supporters, especially the weekend when they travelled away, and the players are clapping the supporters are clapping the players. We all know it's a challenging period, but we're all in it together, and we're all in it to do the best we can for Tranmere Rovers.
Like you say, it's been a really encouraging last couple of weeks. But what are those sort of core disciplines that the squad need to build on in the short term to keep progressing and climb up the table?
I think it is. Discipline's an important thing. You know, you've got to make sure you keep 11 players on the pitch. But the discipline to keep working hard every day, that's important for us. Consistency is a key theme. I think you can see from me, I'm pretty consistent all the way across the board. You know, not being too high or too low. It's a consistency of message, which I think is very, very important. And hopefully we bring the right behaviours every day, the right attitudes every day, a willingness to improve all the time. Put your hand up. You know, we all make mistakes. Make them honest mistakes, but you've got to learn from them, because that's what we've got to go and do. I'd like to think we've been learning some good lessons over the games. That's why we do the debriefs. We've got to have honest conversations to go and learn from them and keep driving on. And what we've got is, although we've got a large squad of players, there's a committed squad of players, and everyone's doing the best. And there's some frustrated players who are maybe not in the team, thinking they want to be in the team, but every day in training, and if they're travelling with the team, they're making sure that their behaviour is right to be very, very supportive of everyone. And I think that's an important message.
The news has come out now that Conor Jennings has signed a one-year contract extension, which will keep him at the club until the end of the 24-25 season. What are your thoughts on his contribution so far this season?
I think he's been immense. I think he's carried the team in many aspects. He was playing the man of the match in virtually every game start of the season. His attitude, every day he turns up. His behaviours, we talk about he'll do the basics well to an elite level. He does it every day. He comes in, he's a perfect role model. You know, for the younger players, maybe like a Sam Taylor as an example, who's come through our college system to see what elite looks like. You know, I've been fortunate to be in an elite environment. And Conor, every day, how you train, how you apply yourself consistently, how you apply yourself in the gym consistently, how you make sure you're eating properly consistently, getting your rest and recovery, how you're a teammate, put the team before self. You know, all these things. I've been very fortunate over the years that I've had maybe some good senior players to help develop some of the younger players, and they need to see it. Sometimes you don't need to be the best player, but your attitude can help other players, young players who have maybe not seen it, who are naive, don't understand what it looks like. Once they see it and they're surrounded with it on a daily basis, then that can only help the younger ones get better and better and better.
Looking ahead to this weekend's game against Gillingham now, could you please give us an update on the injury to Luke Norris?
Yeah, big shame for Luke. He's going to have an operation on Monday, and he's probably going to be out for 3 months, which is a shame. But all being well, it'll get fixed, and then we can look forward for him to, once he recovers from that, being a big part of us for the latter part of the season.
And then any update on the rest of the squad and the injury list that we had so far?
Yeah, Jake Leake has returned to, he came off the bench at the weekend, so that's really good. I'd like to think he's all right. Paul Lewis is still on his road to recovery, the same as Joe Starbuck. They've still got a few more weeks to go yet. But it's pleasing that today Josh Hawkes managed to join in for most of the training session today. So although he's not really fully fit to start games yet, he's obviously doing well enough to start putting himself into contention for the run of games that we've got coming up.
And just lastly, talking about Gillingham, what sort of challenge does their style of play pose as you prepare to set up your side?
Well, it's going to be an interesting game. Obviously, they've got a new manager. They were top of the league start of the season. They had a lot of 1-0 victories. But then obviously, like all teams, there's probably a little bit of a dip in form for whatever reason. And this is a very competitive division. I think everybody will agree on that. Change of manager, obviously a different change in structure maybe, but they've got some talented football players at Gillingham. Obviously, they had a good result in the last game. And they've got some players who played at a high level, who are talented on the football, a good fluidity of movement, and they've got a bit of legs in the team as well to run round. So should be a good game for the fans to go and enjoy. But likewise, we're going to focus as much as we can on ourselves and getting ourselves right in the preparation for the game.